You walk into the room thinking it's a negotiation. You think it's 50-50. You check your watch. You check your files. You think the person sitting at the head of the table, the one with the calm voice and the expensive suit, is neutral. You think they are Switzerland. You are wrong. In that room, the math isn't 1 + 1 = 2. It is 2 against 1. And often you don't even know which side the mediator has picked until you've signed your life away, walked out into the parking lot, and realized the handcuffs were put on you by the very person you paid to help you unlock them. Welcome to Signal 49. Today, we aren't looking at a crime scene in the traditional sense. There is no yellow tape. There are no flashing lights. We are looking at a conference room in a quiet office park. We are exposing the secret economy of the U.S. family court system and the hidden pressures that might just be rigging your divorce before it even starts. Now, to be clear, there are thousands of ethical, hard-working mediators out there. Many are heroes who help families navigate the worst days of their lives with grace and fairness. We are not talking about them. We are talking about the system, the broken machinery of the courts, and the bad actors who exploit that machinery to force quick settlements over fair ones. We are here to help you spot the difference. To understand why this is happening to thousands of Americans every day, we first have to look at the sheer scale of the machine. Divorce in America is a $50 billion industry. It feeds lawyers. It feeds expert witnesses. It feeds therapists. And it feeds the court system itself. But here is the statistic that they done to put on the brochures. Over 90% of divorce cases in the United States never go to trial. 90%. Why? We are told it's because Americans are sensible. We are told it's because we prefer alternative dispute resolution. But if you dig deeper, if you look at the court dockets in Los Angeles, in Cook County, in Harris County, you see the truth. The system is drowning. The judges are buried under mountains of paperwork. They do not have the time, the resources, or the patience to hear your story. They don't want to know who cheated. They don't want to know who hid the crypto wallet. They want the case off their desk. Enter the mediator. The mediator is sold to you as the civilized alternative, the benevolent guide through the underworld of separation. But in the eyes of an overwhelmed court system, mediators are often treated as the janitors. The system piles the mess on their desk and demands they clean it up fast. Their primary function isn't justice. It isn't fairness. It isn't the best interest of the child. Their primary function is efficiency. Their goal is not right. Their goal is done. And if your desire for a fair share stands in the way of done, you become the obstacle. You become the problem that needs to be solved. Let's peel back the first layer, the money and the club. You need to understand who these mediators are. In high-stakes divorces, they are often retired judges or senior family law attorneys. Now, ask yourself, why does a judge retire to become a mediator? Often, it's about lifestyle. It's about making 3 times the salary for half the stress. But to keep that lifestyle, they need flow. They need cases. Where do those cases come from? They come from referrals. They come from the big divorce firms, the sharks in your city. Now, imagine a scenario. You have a mediator who relies on a specific high-powered law firm to send them 10 cases a year. That's 10 fees. That's a mortgage payment. That's a country club membership. Now you walk in. You are a one-time customer. You will never hire this mediator again. But your spouse's lawyer? That lawyer is a repeat customer. That lawyer is the golden goose. Who do you think the mediator is subconsciously or consciously going to favor? The stranger who will never return, or the lawyer who feeds them? This is the shadow docket. It's an unspoken alliance between senior lawyers and mediators to keep the gears turning. If a mediator gets a reputation for being too thorough or letting cases go to trial, they are seen as a failure. They are seen as someone who can't close. And in this industry, if you can't close, you don't eat. So, how do they close you? How do they take a person who knows they are being cheated and get them to sign a piece of paper that says they agree to it? They use advanced psychological warfare. Let's talk about shuttle diplomacy. This is the standard format for modern mediation. You are in room A, and your spouse is in room B. The mediator walks back and forth. It's presented as a way to keep the peace, to keep tempers low. But strategically, it is an isolation chamber. When you are in room A, you are cut off from baseline reality. You cannot see your spouse's face. You cannot read their body language. You cannot hear their tone. You are entirely dependent on the mediator to translate what is happening in the other room. This gives the mediator absolute power over the narrative. They can walk into your room and say, "Your husband is furious. He's ready to walk out. He's threatening to go for full custody." You panic. You shrink. Then they walk into your husband's room. He might actually be sitting there calmly, eating a sandwich, asking if you've agreed yet. But the mediator tells him, "She's wavering. I think if you offer just a little bit less on the house, she'll take it." They manipulate the emotional temperature of both rooms to engineer a collision point. They manufacture urgency where there is none. They are gatekeepers of the truth, and they ration it out to manipulate your fear response. This leads us to the most dangerous trap of all, the bias trap. We like to think of the law as blind, but mediators are human, and they carry the biases of their generation and their background. Most of the time, this isn't a conspiracy. It's not that the mediator hates you. It's that the mediator is human, overworked, and operating on cognitive shortcuts. But the result for your bank account is exactly the same. Many senior mediators come from an era where the mother was the nurturer and the father was the provider. Even if the law has changed, their internal hardwiring hasn't. We see this constantly with the weekend dad bias. A father fights for 50/50ths custody. He wants to be a parent, not a visitor. But an old-school mediator looks at him and thinks, why does he want so much time? Is he trying to lower his child support payments? The mediator cynically assumes the father is motivated by greed, not love. Conversely, we see the hysterical female bias. If a woman enters mediation and she is emotional, because perhaps her entire life is falling apart, or she is leaving an abusive narcissist, the mediator views her emotion as instability. Meanwhile, the husband, who might be a sociopath, sits there calm, cool, and collected. To a lazy mediator, the calm person looks like the reasonable one. The emotional person looks like the high conflict one. The mediator naturally aligns with the calm abuser, effectively becoming a flying monkey for the very person you are trying to escape. They will turn to you and say, "Why are you being so difficult?" He is being so reasonable. They are gaslighting you by proxy. And if you try to bring up the past, if you try to say, "He hid money," or "He was emotionally abusive," the mediator will shut you down with a smile. They will say, "We are here to look forward, not backward." Looking forward is a weaponized phrase. It is code for stop asking for accountability. It is a way to sweep forensic accounting under the rug. It allows the spouse who committed financial infidelity to walk away with a clean slate, all under the guise of moving on. You might be thinking, but if I don't settle, I lose everything. Let me tell you the story of Harriet and Robert Feldman to prove why that fear is a lie. Robert was a wealthy real estate developer in Arizona. When they divorced, he played the poor mouth card perfectly. He came to the table with a stack of documents claiming his business was struggling. He offered a settlement that looked decent on the surface, pushing for a quick resolution. A mediator focused on clearing the docket would have looked at Harriet and said, "Take the deal. If you go to trial, the business might go bankrupt and you'll get nothing." It was the classic squeeze, the pressure to sign, the fear of the unknown. But Harriet didn't sign. She sensed the numbers were wrong. She refused the quick mediation agreement and instead spent money on a forensic accountant. Here's what they found. Robert wasn't broke. He had undervalued his assets by over $1 million. He was hiding cash while crying poverty in the conference room. Now, here is the justice that mediation would have denied her. When this went to court, the Supreme Court of Arizona didn't just slap Robert on the wrist. They ruled that because he had acted in bad faith, because he tried to rig the game, he forfeited his share of the hidden assets. The court awarded Harriet 100% of the assets he tried to hide. If Harriet had listened to the pressure to be nice, if she had succumbed to the mediation mindset of compromise, she would have walked away with a fraction of what she owned. She didn't win because she was emotional. She won because she treated her divorce like a forensic investigation. But the psychological pressure is just the warm-up. The real closer is physiological. It is what we call the 4 p.m. wall. Most mediations are scheduled for full days. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is not an accident. It is a war of attrition. Negotiators and interrogators have known for decades that hunger and fatigue destroy the human brain's ability to make complex decisions. The day starts slow. Lots of coffee. Lots of small talk. They spend hours on the little things. Who gets the furniture? Who gets the frequent flyer miles? They waste your cognitive energy on the trivial. Then, as the afternoon wears on, the atmosphere changes. You're tired. You just want this to be over. You have decision fatigue. Your brain is literally running out of glucose. And that is when, at 4:30 p.m., the mediator puts the biggest, most life-altering issues on the table. The custody schedule, the alimony payout, the pension. They wait until you are weakest to hit you with the hardest choices. This is the crunch. They will look at the clock. They will look at you, and they will say the magic words, "We are so close. If we don't sign this now, the deal falls apart. The lawyers go home, and you'll have to pay another $10,000 to set this up again." They leverage your exhaustion against your wallet. They make you feel that if you walk away now, you have failed. They make you feel that signing a bad deal is better than no deal. And so, you sign. You sign to end the pain of the day, not to secure the safety of your future. You wake up the next morning, the fog clears, and you read what you signed. And you realize you gave away the holidays. You realize you waived your right to modify support. You realize you trapped yourself, but it's too late. A mediated settlement agreement, once signed and filed, is nearly impossible to overturn. The court treats it as a contract. You cannot go back to the judge and say, "I was tired." The judge will say, "You had a lawyer. You signed it. Next case." So, is the system rigged? In many ways, yes. It is designed to process you like livestock through a chute. But does that mean you are helpless? Absolutely not. Knowledge is armor. And now that you see the game board, you can learn how to play it. The first rule of survival in a rigged mediation is walk-away power. The mediator relies on your fear of trial. They rely on the idea that you are terrified of a judge. You have to flip that script. You have to be the person in the room who is comfortable with the uncomfortable. If the offer is bad, you don't beg. You don't cry. You close your folder. You stand up. And you say, "I would rather let a judge decide this than agree to something this unfair." Moment you say that, and mean it, the power in the room shifts. The mediator panics. The opposing counsel panics. Their close is evaporating. Suddenly, the offers get better. Suddenly, they find room to move. You have to be willing to burn the deal to save the deal. The second rule is data beats emotion. Do not go into mediation talking about fairness. Fairness is subjective. Go in talking about math. Bring spreadsheets. Bring valuations. Remember Harriet Feldman? She didn't win because she appealed to the judge's heart. She won because she brought the real numbers. If the mediator says, "I think this is a fair offer," you ask, Based on what calculation? Show me the formula. Force them to show their work. When you demand the math, you strip away the bias. You strip away the old boys club handshake. You force them to operate in the realm of facts. And finally, the 24-hour rule. This is non-negotiable. Make it clear before the mediation even starts. I will not sign anything today. I will take the draft agreement home, I will sleep on it, and I will sign it tomorrow. They will hate this. They will pressure you. They will say the deal expires when you walk out the door. Call their bluff. If the deal is good today, it will be good tomorrow. If it expires in an hour, it was never a good deal. It was a hustle. The family court system is a machine. It doesn't have a heart. It has gears. And if you aren't careful, you will get caught in them. Your mediator is not your friend. They are not your therapist. They are a facilitator of a transaction. Treat your divorce like a business merger. Remove the emotion. Watch the money. Watch the clock. If you found this analysis helpful, you know what to do. Subscribe to Signal 49. We don't just tell you the story. We show you the mechanics of the trap so you can dismantle it. Stay safe, stay sharp, and always read the fine print.